Hi everyone. Today I'm going to show you a fun tool called Stylie, which is a CSS3 animation editor. Today we're going to animate a small spaceship flying around, so let's dive in. First off, we need the actual spaceship to animate, so let's go get that. This is from Noun Project, so we're just going to borrow it for a moment. We're going to copy this SVG. I'm going to flip back to Stylie, and while this is running, we're just going to hop over to the HTML tab, and we're going to change the actual image source of this thing. It'll just update for us. And there's a spaceship. You can give it a little alt tag if we want. Here we go. Cool. So now we can actually animate this thing. So let's take this keyframe right here, this little crosshair, and we're going to drag it up over here, and we're going to have it fly down to the bottom right. But we'll notice that it's animating in a straight line, which doesn't look very natural. So let's tweak that a little bit. So we can actually go to the Keyframes tab here, drag it over a little bit, and we can change the easing axes formulas, the curves, to whatever we want them to be. So let's make it ease out quint. Oh, there it is. All right, and that's okay, but I think we can do a little bit better. So let's animate the y-axis along a custom easing curve. So let's take this guy, scroll to the bottom, select this custom easing curve, and we can actually modify this curve by going to the motion tab. We can see that we're selecting custom easing 1, and we can just drag these little crosshairs around. And we can see that the preview is updating as I drag the curve around. So we can get it just as we like while the animation is actually running. So it's pretty cool. So now it's kind of zooming down. Let's give it a little bit of a rotation here. So I can hit the Shift key on my keyboard, and these little cubelets pop up, and these are actually 3D rotation axes. So I can have them animate however I want. So let's tilt it off to the left here, and all right. So now the spaceship has got a little tilt to it. Let's add a brief wait before it zooms away from us. So I'll hit the K key, or in fact, I can just hit the little keyframe button here, and we'll see that the keyframe was added, which is this guy. Now it's added off to the right by default, but we're just going to move that over. So we can see that the 2000 millisecond keyframe has an X of 503 and a Y of 445. So we can either drag this over, but for this sort of fine-grained control, it's a little bit easier to actually just modify the numbers directly. So we'll do that. All right, just type them back in, and actually we can just hit the down key if we want to be lazy. But here we go. So now that we've simulated a wait. It's waiting a little bit too long, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to reorder these keyframes a little bit. I'm going to move it around. Let's bring this down to about half a second here. So it's going to go from 2000 to 2500. Hit enter, and there it goes. And now for the last step of this animation, what we want is for this little guy to fly off to the top of the screen here, somewhere over here. So I'm just going to add another keyframe. Again, it's off to the right by default. We're going to move it up. We want to match the x-axis. So we're going to slow down. We're going to see that was 445 again. So let's just modify that. Oh, sorry, this one, 445. And I actually got my number screwed. Oh no, I'm scrolling the number pad. There we go. So what I meant to do is to get this at 503. So I'm going to type that in again. Good. Now he's going to go up, but we want to make this a little bit more stylish. So we're going to actually have it disappear. So we can change the scale to 0. So we can do that in a few ways. Again, by hitting Shift to make these little cubelets appear over the crosshairs. We can either scroll up or down on the mouse pad if your mouse supports that, and that will modify the scale. But since we're just making it go to 0, it's a little bit easier here to just set the scale to 0. And it just disappears. And let's give it a little easing formula here. So it's going to go up. So we're just going to have it ease out. And there it goes. But we can tweak that however we like. So now we've got a basic animation. We can hide the paths by either clicking the Show Path or hitting the P key on the keyboard. And by the way, all the key bindings are documented all up in here in the little help section. There's a little table for all the key bindings in case you forget. So I'll just click out of this. So now we have a spaceship. what can we do with this little spaceship? We can export it to CSS over here, and we can control how much CSS we want to have generated by this animation, because we can see it's pretty verbose. So let's take it down a notch. If you take it over here, it's like the maximum quality. It's actually creating a CSS keyframe for every single step, but that's pretty much never necessary for most animations. So let's keep the download size a little bit smaller and keep the output kind of on the small side. So I'll put it about a quarter or so there. There we go. And since I'm running this on Chrome, I'm going to set this to be a WebKit-based animation. And what I can do is I can actually go to CodePen and I can show you this thing running live. So let's see what that looks like. CodePen. All right, so I'm going to make a new pen. All right, so image class Stylie, because that's what the default class is set to here, although you can change that if you'd like. But we're going to take all of this code. We're going to flip back over to CodePen. Oh, first we have to actually set up the image, don't we? So let's go back to here. Let's grab this image. All right. I forgot to put the source. There we go. Okay. And we don't have a spaceship. What did I forget here? Oh, I've got a quote. Oh, I misspelled source. I misspelled it again. There it is. Okay, so now we can go and get our generated CSS. Take this guy, paste it in, and there it goes. So now we have a simple animation of a spaceship kind of just floating in and then just zooming away from us. And if we want to save this for future editing, we can just go back to Stylie here, and we can go to the little wrench, and we can call it zooming spaceship. And then we can save it. And if we come back later, for example, if I refresh, I can just recall this, and I can just reload it. And there it is. So that's Stylie. It's an easy way of creating animations really quickly. You can have as many keyframes as you'd like. You can have rotation and scale support as much as you'd like. It's a pretty cool tool, so definitely check it out. It's right here on GitHub. It's an open source tool. So yeah, I hope you guys check it out and you get a lot of use out of it. Thanks.